Ashriel, welcome to Alive and Well. I feel like this has been a long time coming. So good to have you here today.
Yay, and thank you for the invite. Even though I'm going to be honest, I'm going to let your listeners know I kind of invited myself. I was like, I love Michelle. I want to get to know her. So I'm just going to invite myself to the table, see what's for dinner. We're just going to just sit down, have a moment. It's going to be great.
Yeah, ask and you shall receive, right? You knocked, the
Yes.
door was opened. Come on.
This is proof, guys. If you're like, well, I don't know if I should ask God, just go for it. You might be sitting across from Michelle Grosser having a conversation. So just
Stop.
go. Go to the Lord with your request.
Oh my gosh, it's gonna be so good. Okay, you guys. Ashriel, you do so much. I love your work because I think it's so unique. I think it's so special. I think it's so anointed and so needed. And I feel like sometimes being in this like self development, I'm like using air quotes, but you guys can't see me, space or personal development or self help or whatever, can feel like murky as a believer. Um, and I believe there's an and, right? There's a space to do both that actually feels God honoring. Um, and the people that are like forging a way forward in that murkiness, and bringing light, right, and bringing truth to it is just so powerful. So you teach on, there's so much intersection in the things that we teach, but you teach a lot about like faith and then also mindset and rewiring our brains and how our bodies are a part of all of this. And it's so good. And I understand it started in a classroom, your classroom. So can you just like tell us a little bit about how it came to be, like how your work came to be?
Yeah, absolutely. So, as all things that are good start, it starts with a little bit of like impatience and wiggling and movement because I was in a classroom as a kindergarten teacher, and by golly, they like to move like a lot. And I remember I was teaching, and it was like in my early years of teaching, and I'm like, guys, just sit still. And I had this one little girl, she was just precious, but she wouldn't sit still. And she really struggled to retain things that we were teaching. So I remember we were going through the solar system, and she didn't retain a lot of what I taught that year. And I was getting ready to teach the solar system. And I was like, well, she's not catching on to like anything we've done in the past couple months. And I know she's not going to get this, but in fact, the other kids that we did all the previous years didn't remember either. What can I do different? And so I was like, oh, I've got it. So I was like, all right, here's what we're going to do, guys. And I came in my little teacher jacket, and I was so excited. And I had these giant cardboard cutouts, like bigger than the children, of the planets. So we're like, we're going to do planetary order today, guys, but we're going to move our bodies to do it. So I assigned them all a planet. They became that planet. I turned the music on. They danced around like the glorious solar system that they were. And then when the music stopped, they had to line up in order, and they would shout out what they were. We even had the asteroid belt like right in the middle of the half of the solar system. They would shout it out. And by the end, we did this like for an hour. It was supposed to be a half an hour event. They're like, no, we want more. We want more solar system planetary order. I was like, let's do it. And so we kept doing it. By the end, every single kid knew the planetary order. Like they had it down, but even more than that, they were calm but happy. Like it was amazing. I was like, oh, I felt like I was the best teacher ever because I had found this magical tool, and it was moving our bodies and moving our thoughts together at the same time. And at the end,
Yeah.
it really calmed their bodies down, got their wiggles out, brought in their parasympathetic nervous system. They were now calm and ready to learn. And then we moved their thoughts towards good things, towards things that were going to fill them up, and they remembered better. So everything was improved. And I was like, wow, if this works for kids, could
Yeah.
it by chance work for big people? When we put on our big kid pants, like, can we do this too and use our bodies and our minds at the same time to reset and move them in a much prettier direction so we can be
Yeah.
better, feel better, all of it?
Oh my gosh, brilliant. And I think it brings up so many good points. One of them, and I tell parents this all the time that I work with, is like, your kids are trying to regulate all day long, right? Like when they're like wiggling and not sitting still, or when they're having a temper tantrum, or when they're like, whatever it is, because they haven't been, and I don't know whether uninhibited yet. Like they're just like following the impulse of their body to try to get themselves to a space where they feel more regulated. And as we grow and become adults, so many of our body's natural impulses to help us feel safe and regulated, we just mask and suppress because it's not appropriate, or whatever it is. We're taught that we should be a
Yes.
good girl or a strong kid or whatever. So I love that children being children, and you giving them a chance to do what kids do best and move and have fun, right? We know the power of learning when we're having fun in
Yes.
particular, and how much more we retain, is brilliant, because like you were teaching them, but they were teaching you. Like, this
Oh,
is
big time.
actually the design, right?
Yes.
We're supposed to move while we learn, move while we change and grow in our brain, right? And in our bodies. Okay, so can you explain a little bit of the science behind it? Like, why is it so powerful when we're wanting to change our thoughts,
Mhm.
to incorporate our body also?
Oh, love that question. And there's two ways to reset with this that I like to personally help women with. So with the Love Moves resets, I have the ones that are more for neurogenesis. So that zest for life. If you have a high neurogenesis rate, you're going to feel a lot better in life. But if we're doing things that are killing our neurons, we're going to have a lower neurogenesis rate. So, and especially if we have stress, because the number one killer of our neurons, stress. So I do Love Move resets for neurogenesis, where it's a lot more high energy, high impact. We're working up a sweat, so we're sweating out that cortisol. We're like, you do not kill our neurons. We're getting you out of here. And so it's designed to really incite a higher neurogenesis rate, because we want to create new neurons. We want to spark neurogenesis. And there's, that comes in our hippocampus, like, yeah, we're going to get better at memory and learning. Let's do this. And so when you do those ones, it's going to kind of help you close stress cycles, and it's going to help you start to up your neurogenesis rate, because you're going to start to develop new neurons, especially as you do it more often, because consistency is really the key with that.
Yeah.
And then when we have our more low impact Love Move resets, that's going to be where we're going to do things like we have the breathing, and we have certain types of breathing that we're doing. And then we're pairing somatic exercises with just really good questions to move our thoughts back to a love brain from a fear brain. So we combine them all together. So we start with our breath work to activate our parasympathetic nervous system. And then we move on to our prayer activator, which is doing the same thing, but it's also moving our thoughts and getting away from that cluttered fear state and starting to shift and reconnect. So we're remembering God's goodness, and then we're reconnecting to God's goodness by actually moving our bodies and our thoughts at the same time. And then we go to the final reset, where we do another prayer activator, and we've really moved our thoughts and body together. So now we can go out and we can respond and not react.
Whoa. Okay, this is so good. For the longest time, I had a mug. I don't have it today. I have a Boston Terrier one today, but I had
I love
my
the mug.
mug that was Romans 12:2, right? Be transformed by the renewal of your mind. That's all it said. And man, I was just meditating on that every morning, and I was like, God, I want to do this, but like, practically, what does that look like? Right?
Yes.
Or like, I want to take my thoughts captive. Like, I understand that this is not a godly thought, but like, like, my thoughts are not something I can grab a hold of and like put a rope
Yes.
around. Like, how do I
It's
take my
true.
thoughts captive? So I just love that you've taken these concepts that can feel abstract, or feel really complex, and been like, guys, this is how we do this, right? This is a process of like renewing our mind and taking our thoughts captive and making them obedient to Christ, like bringing in the scripture through it. So you mentioned love moves, but like, maybe you could give us like what is a love move? How does it actually work? And maybe you could like walk us through some of the
You know what?
exercises, or like,
Let's do it. Do
okay,
you want
I
to
do
do a
too.
love move together today in this moment?
Yeah, I do.
I do too. Let's do it. Okay,
Okay.
we're gonna flip the script. So here, let's get into this, guys. Let's lean in. Let's have some fun. If you are driving, do it as you're able. But for the rest of us, let's just do this. Let's do a love move together. I'm sitting in front of a microphone, so I'm not gonna actually get up and move my body, but you guys are gonna do it for me. It's gonna be great. But we're gonna flip the script today. So we usually live in one of two states: love or fear. So you've
Okay.
probably felt it. Your love brain, it feels calmer, it feels clearer, it's connected, it's curious. You have fewer racing thoughts. It's secure. We
Yeah.
like love brain. Then we have fear brain. Fear brain is insecure. It's tense. It's reactive. It's cluttered. You have 1,000 thoughts and you keep running over the same one over and
Yeah.
over again. And whatever state we're in, guys, it's going to make us feel that way. How we see, how we think, how we feel, how we act. But
Mm-hmm.
here's the problem. We cannot think our way out of fear. It doesn't work. You cannot look down at your body and be like, hey, friend, settle down. It's fine. Your body's going to punch you. The brain
Yeah.
does not work like that. Neuroscience shows us that movement and focus that together is the fastest way to reset your brain and body. So we're going to do today a love move, and we're going to start with a little heart health check. So that's what we're doing. We're doing a heart health check today. And it's the same thing that we do in a love move. It's a short reset to help you remember, reconnect, and reset back into love. So here we go. Check in. We're going to start with awareness. So just that check in. If you are driving, do not close your eyes. I don't want to be responsible for traffic issues, but the rest of us, close your eyes and say, am I more in a love state or a fear state? So am I feeling calm? Am I feeling relaxed? Do things feel clear? Do I feel connected? Am I kind of excited? Am I kind of curious? Or am I saying, oh, I'm feeling anxious. My shoulders are kind of up high. I get that feeling in the back of my neck. I'm feeling tense. I've got all these thoughts running in my head. I'm feeling cluttered. And so now we're going to start a little bit of brain and body reset. So roll your shoulders and start, shaking your hands, wiggle your toes. If you can and you're not driving, stand up, bounce around and shimmy like nobody's watching. And these movements signal safety to your nervous system. Now, as you're moving your thoughts, keep moving those bodies, girls. I want you to ask yourself this question. Where have I seen God's goodness in the past 24 hours? Let me say that again.
Wow.
Where have I seen God's goodness in the past 24 hours? Big or small, just notice it. This is everyday worship, my friends. We are training our brains to see God, to see his goodness in this moment. It's here, but we have to look for him, look for it, and find it. Now, as we get ready to end this, we're going to do a scripture anchor with breath. So what we're going to do, you're going to inhale as I say the first part, and then you're going to exhale slowly as I repeat the second part, and I'll repeat it twice so we have a double exhale. So we're going to try it out, and then we'll do it together. So inhale for this. Peace I leave with you. Exhale. My peace I give you. My peace I give you. All right, let's try it again. This is good. Okay, we're going to breathe in for the first part and exhale for the last. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give you. My peace I give you. And feel that shift. It's a little shift in your body where you just feel like, it's that sigh where you just feel like, I can go out, I can go do this, I can respond. And that's your brain and body starting to rewire to go a different direction in the moment. Because, we remembered God's goodness. We reconnected with him. And you know what? We reset into love. So there we go. There is our love move. There is our heart health check. We just did it, girls. I'm so proud of us.
Oh man, that was so good. And I was noticing in the moment, I'm like, I know that this morning I was operating in fear brain because I was just like, yesterday was really hard for me. Like we were having dinner, the four of us around the table, and I just started crying. Like it was just like, I was like, I don't know if you guys have had those days, but I was just like, and then I'm like, I'm not even sad. I'm like, I'm just so overwhelmed. Most of it good, but like I was done. I was just
Yes.
like bawling.
Oh,
And then this morning there's like just so much to get done and through and ready today and get the girls out and at school and come back. And then the minute I started moving my body and you're asking me where I'm at, I could feel, right? Like, the shoulders were like that quickly, the shoulders dropping. I could feel my breathing change. I could feel my heart rate start to like my whole body just exhaling. And it's really so powerful. And I think we hear this term neuroplastic or neuroplasticity. And we understand that, our brains have the ability to be rewired. And again, it feels like, well, that feels super complicated, or I need like some
right.
like system to do that, or do I have to wear like probes on my head? Or, and you talked about the power of like repetition and consistency and doing practices like this as it relates to our thoughts. Can you teach us a little bit about that, or like make neuroplasticity like something that like, I get what that means.
Like something a little more fun that we can understand that doesn't seem like a scary big word. And we're like, hey, am I using this right? What is happening?
Yeah, can I do that?
One of my favorite ways to kind of explain it is our brain is an organ, But our mind is an organization, and our organization, we
Ooh.
want to turn it into a kingdom. So that's what we do here. So I always love, it's one of my favorite examples to give. But there was, a very famous inventor, and he used to keep this junk drawer full of like little scraps of paper, and he would take out the little scraps of paper, and to all of us it would just look like this crazy thing, and we wouldn't understand what's happening, but he would take those scraps and he would put them together, and he would come up with these great philosophies and approaches because he reorganized what was in there and put it in a way that made sense. And so it's the
Mm.
same with our brains. God can go in there. If we don't let God go in there, our brains just kind of go into default mode in system one and do what they've always done. But if we're intentional and we're aware, we ask God to come in, we go into system two and we start to change and we
Yeah.
start to do things a little bit differently. And our brain's like, well, this is hard. What's happening? And the hard part is we have to be consistent, because if you go into system two, let's say you're like, you know what, I want to stop eating 12 donuts for breakfast every day. It's maybe not healthy now that I mentioned, think about it. So how am I going to do it? Well, I'm going to go down to just one donut a day. Just one donut is all I need in my life. And so you go to one donut a day and you're like, okay, I did this for 2 days. I feel great. But on day three, someone brings you a dozen donuts. Well, that's a really hard thing to change, because you're going to just shift right back into what you've always done. You're going to be like, oh, okay, yeah, system one, autopilot. Let's eat a dozen donuts. I feel good about this. And you will
Mm.
slip right back into what you've always done, because it hasn't become a system one habit yet. So
Yeah.
that's why consistency is so important. Anything new we do, any change we bring to our life is
Mhm.
system two. We're doing something new. It's hard. It's awkward. It takes a long time. And our brains are like, what are we doing here? We have to do it in system two long enough that it becomes part of our autopilot for system one, and it becomes that behavioral habit. So let's say your donut habit, was out of control, but you did it faithfully for, whatever it takes your brain to rewire. There's different schools of thought on that, but let's say you've done it for 3 months and you've eaten just one donut a day. You are now somebody who just eats one donut a day. You have
Hmm.
rewired. And when you slip back, it's like, you don't slip back into the whole 12 dozen donuts that you're eating, because
Yeah.
you're on autopilot for just one donut a day. You don't have to think about it. It's not like, oh gosh, how many donuts am I eating today? It's become an autopilot. So our goal is, anytime we're rewiring our brain, we want to get into system two to rewire, but we want to do it so often and so consistently that we've
Mhm.
now created a new pathway that when we bump up against that thing, morning breakfast decisions, this
Yeah.
is the new way we go. This is the new thing our brain always does. And that's why, we want to be so consistent. They always use the example of, the forest, the path through a forest.
Yeah.
Go on a hike in a forest, and you're like, all right, I'm going to just pave a new path here, a new trail. And you walk it once and it's still this overgrown thing, and you're still going to go
Yeah.
back to the normal trail. But if you do it over and over and over again, consistently, if you get really boring, guys, we've got to get more boring.
Come
That's where the
on.
magic happens, is in the boring,
Agreed.
consistent work. And then
Yes.
eventually we rewire and it shifts. So our brains are plastic, they move around, but it has to have that consistency to actually
Yeah.
become a new shape.
Wow. Yeah, that I love how you present that. And I think sometimes too, like we hear this term embodied. Like for the longest time, I'm like, I don't understand what that means. Like everyone's talking about they want to embody this new habit or embody, and I'm like, I don't get that. I don't get what that
No,
means.
what does that mean, guys?
And then I'm like, oh, it's when like that new thing I'm trying to incorporate just becomes part of who I am and how I do life, and I don't actually have to like try so hard or be so intentional about it, because it's like, oh my gosh, this is actually what Michelle just does now. It's become embodied. And I hear that in what you're explaining, right? It's like over time with repetition, that that hard path or that whatever through the forest is like now a super highway, and it's like, man, we just cruise on
Yes.
that thing. We don't even think
Yes,
about
you're
full
like,
weight
oh, I'm
control.
sitting back. This is good. Put the
Yeah.
thank you, Jesus bumper sticker on and just cruise. It's good.
Oh, wow. Okay, so I'm curious because I mean, so many of the women listening, myself included, sometimes it's like the overwhelm, all the things we're managing and the mental load and the daily stress and the leadership and I would love just some, either like you can be as specific as you want or as general, but I'm curious about like some of the praise reports you're hearing out of this work, like when women that are coming through it, what kind of changes are you seeing or what kind of benefit are they experiencing?
Oh, I love that, because that's the point. Like we want change. If we're going to go after something, we're hoping there's a result. There's something
Mm-hmm.
different that comes out of it. And the truth is, you're so right. Most of us are just running on empty. We're juggling kids, careers, marriage, ministries, and we know the verses, but our bodies are still stuck in stress. And my work really bridges the gap so you just don't believe peace is possible. You actually feel it in your everyday moments. And one of my favorite stories that I always share, and I'll share a few other ones, but there was a woman that I worked with a while back when we were just really coming into the love moves and doing the resets. And this was a live one and in person. And she comes up to me and she goes, "Well, can you do a love move with me? Because I don't understand it and I don't know how to do
Mm.
it." And I said, "Of course, let's do this." So we drop everything. We stand there like crazy people and we do a 6-minute love move together. We go through the SMRM questions. What's something I love about my surroundings? What's something I love about this moment? What's something I love about a relationship I have? And what's something I love about myself? So, we're shifting your thoughts, we're doing all this. And we get to the one, something I love about myself. And she struggles. Like, I'll be honest, she
Yeah.
struggled. And
Yeah.
so I helped find something. It wasn't hard. This woman was magnificent. And then the next day she came back and she comes up to me and she's like, "Hey, Ash, hey, can I talk to you?" And I said, "Absolutely." And she goes, "I'm just having a hard time because I don't know what I love about myself. I'm
Mm.
really organized, but outside of that, I don't know anything good about myself." And here's the thing, like, if you are listening, this woman, what I knew of her, she is highly accomplished, started her own business, CEO, like, has done all these amazing things. And from what I know of her, she's very, kind-hearted, generous, does all this stuff. And yet here she is coming at this little conference area saying, "Hey, I don't know what I love about me. I don't know if I'm worthy. I don't know if I have a calling." And I was like, it broke my heart. And so we did some different homework with her and we did some different love moves. We did embracing worthiness. We did all these ones to rewire for her to embrace her worth and know
Wow.
that she is the daughter of a king. She is an image bearer. And that is nothing to you hang your head in shame for. She has been gifted and she is loved and she is worthy. And I wanted her to live from that and not operate from the lie that the enemy plants that she's not enough and what she's done doesn't quite cut it, because it's a lie, but she lived
Yeah.
from it. And
Yeah.
so my favorite testimony is hers because we got about 6 months outside of that. She went through the program, she did the courses, she was faithful for the 3 months. And she goes, "Ash, the best thing I can tell you is that I feel better.
Mhm.
Not even happy. I just feel okay. I'm not worrying." Like, she would call me up when she had a big moment and she was able to reset in the moment and not react and overreact. And
Yeah.
she goes, "I just feel really good. I love my life. And I know I'm worthy." And I was like, to hear a woman look me in the eyes and go, "I know I'm worthy," that's worth everything, because that's the whole point. That's why we're here. We're here to be salt. We're here to be light. We're here to make things brighter and we're here to make things better. And so if
Yeah.
we can do that for another woman, let's do that. And now she goes and she helps other women and she gets to be salt and light, because we all want to step into our callings with confidence. We all want to feel better. We all want to stop crying over our oatmeal in the morning and be like, "You know what? God's got this. And I've got
Yeah.
other women that are going with me." So that's the biggest thing that I hear from women is they go, "I just feel better. I just feel
Mhm.
lighter." And I
Yeah.
think that's honestly the biggest feedback I've gotten is, "I just feel so good. I love my life." And
Come
that's what I
on.
want. I want women to love their life. I don't want it to be, "You know what? I checked the Christian box and I entered the kingdom and now I've got nothing but rules and I've got to follow this and it's nothing
Uh,
but shame and a cycle." No, that's not
wow.
what Jesus came for. He came to rescue us, and that includes rescuing us from our thoughts. He
Yeah.
wants us to be connected heart and mind to Him, because then we
Yes.
can become more like Him. We get His
Yeah.
character, we get His thoughts, we get His compassion, and we get to go live out our mission and our callings. And we can only do that when we embrace the life that we have, the gifts that we've been given, and we move out in love. I'll get off my
Woo.
soapbox now.
No, like I'm so fired up. I'm gonna like preach. Oh my gosh. Um, wow. I feel like also it's just so interesting that you even bring up worthiness as like in her story, right? And I'm sure underlying so many others. Because I think it's I don't even know if fascinating is the right word, not in like a good sense, but it's fascinating to me how much of the things that we struggle with on the day to day are like rooted in worthiness once we kind of strip it all away and get to the root of it, that we're not even really aware of, I think, for the most part.
That's the hard part is we make
Yeah.
these decisions and we operate and we don't realize that we're operating off of something that's a complete lie.
Yeah.
But we think it's normal and we think it's real and we think this is just how it is. And that's why I think these conversations are so important. Like you and I talking, you guys out there listening, like we need these conversations because we start to understand and normalize it. We start to understand we all go through it, but
Hmm.
it's not real. And there's a better and there's a different way to do it. Because if we all are thinking, hey, quietly in the closet, I'm not really worthy, I'm not good
Yes.
enough, I don't matter, then we get stuck and we stop
Yes.
and we don't live who we were made to be. And we dim our light. We need to
Yes.
light it up, put our cell phones up because we don't use lighters anymore, but something so we can just light up and shine a little bit.
Yes. Yes. Wow. It's big work. And it's like, it's legacy work, right? Because we go first and like as women come to this work and leave feeling so much better and so much different and worthy and lighter and all these beautiful ways in which they leave your work. It's like, man, how does that impact our parenthood? How does that impact our marriages, right? How does that impact our community? How do, like when I know when I'm better, everything around me is better, right? It just is. And it's such big work, even bigger than we realize. Okay, so for love moves and then the other things that you teach, um, I know there's so many people listening that are so curious. Like, how do they access your teachings? Is it like, should they go out and get the book right now? Is it your programs that you think they should start with? Like, can you kind of just talk to us about your world and
Yes.
opportunities that
Little
people have?
ecosystem, how we can hang out, have a cup of coffee,
Yeah,
all of
how they
that.
can
Yes,
learn from
let's do it.
you.
I would honestly, I just love to connect with people. So yes, if you're listening, let's do this. Let's have our cup of coffee moment. We'll wear pajamas. It'll be great. But with that, I would just say go to the website. That is the
Okay.
biggest thing. That is my favorite place to go because that's where I have stories on there. I write fiction and nonfiction because I just love a good story because a story can shift our perspective like nothing else. And I just like to dive in. So you can find new stories that nobody else can find there. You get the little snippets, you get it ahead of time. So you get the special stuff. And then I always have a free love move on there. So you can go get that video. We're going to work out our thoughts and bodies together. It'll be so good. And then just come join weekly. Like we have a podcast. Like go listen to Michelle's podcast and come listen to my podcast and find like one other great podcast, like make it a trio, but come listen every week. We'll have conversations about how we bump into moments, how we can fail beautifully, how we can get back up and reset and just become a little bit better each day. So yes, come to the website, come join, and then we'll get you set up with all the fun things. And oh, you know what I can give you, Michelle? I will send you, if you want, a love moves video and you can gift it. I'll give you my special one. I'll give you my stress less one. I will send you my stress less love move. And so
Yay.
if you have some girls out there or maybe like 12 boys who listen to your show and they
Yeah.
want to like exercise and work out and feel better and start to rewire and shift, they can do the stress less love move. So it'll be a gift for you guys. Yay.
Yes, I'll link that for you guys. That's awesome. Check that out. As you were sharing all this, I was just kind of picturing myself doing love moves with my kids. Like, do you ever do them with your kids or just
Yes, yes. In fact, I have a lot of mamas, and it's my favorite. So my kids with the school they're in with a lot of neurodivergent kiddos, and so it's actually really, really helpful for them. I have about four moms, and they say, yeah, every morning we go with our kiddos, and a lot of them are boys, which I find interesting. Like there's only
Yeah.
one girl in that mix that I know of, and they do a love move every morning before they go to school. And they said it just helps pre-frame the day. It just helps their
Yes.
bodies and their brains be ready because kids have to close their stress cycles too. Like they
Yeah.
need to be okay in brains and bodies. So yeah, they do it with their kids and I do it with mine. Mine sometimes roll their eyes like, Mom, I don't want to do a love move
Yeah.
with you right now. I'm like, well, you are just missing out, child. But yes, they do them with me.
Yeah, I was just thinking, I'm like, that's brilliant. And like, what a way to start the day. Not only in like giving our kids that space to move their body, but also being like, this is the food I'm putting in your brain before you leave the house.
Yeah, this is
They
your
like,
brain food. I can check off ambitious great mama off my list now because I just fed your brain and soul today. This is amazing.
ooh,
We
okay,
just
this is
covered
like, I'm so
church, we
fired up.
covered brain rewiring, and we covered your body fitness. We have done what we need to do.
Godspeed, be on your way. You're ready. It's so good. Amazing. Okay. Guys, we're gonna link all of that for you in the show notes. So you can try out the love moves. We'll link her website. We'll link the podcast so you can go and listen. But you guys know how much I talk about our body. And I talk about including our body. And this is such a practical way to include it in the day to day. I mean, 6 minutes, like we all have 6 minutes. You can probably do a lot of this while you're like washing the dishes or brushing your teeth or whatever stuff, folding the laundry, like
Yes.
stuff that we're doing anyway, right? It's just so, so brilliant. And what I love about this work in particular is like, because it can be so subtle sometimes, we kind of miss how powerful it actually is until we've been doing it, for 6 weeks or what have you. And like all of a sudden someone says something, or, our kids are fighting over something, or husband says something or rolls his eyes, and we're like, whoa, like I would have reacted so differently to that before. And little by little, I didn't even realize it, right? I was changing my ability to handle life. And I
Yes.
was able to choose how to respond in this moment. And to me, that's the work. Like every time I have one of those little glimmers of like how much I've grown and shifted and changed, I'm just like, oh my gosh, it's working. It's so encouraging.
I'm becoming a
And
big
this is,
girl. This is amazing.
yeah, and this is the work that gets you there, you guys. It is. It's the consistency. It's the repetition. And I love that you bring up boredom, because like it's not these big flash in the pan like sexy things. It's like, man, what are the little things we can be more intentional about today that are really shaping who we're becoming? So thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your wisdom. You are such a gifted storyteller, even through just the way that you like share and teach. It's just so clear that this is the call for you. So thank you for answering it. Thank you for teaching us. I'm going to share love moves with everyone that I know. I'm going
Yeah,
to have you
you
come
just
share.
made my
Yeah.
day.
With our we'll talk after this, but
We'll
I would
talk.
love to even have you come to Burnout Recovery Blueprint and teach. I think it's so, so, so powerful. So grateful for you. Thanks for being here today.
Well, thank you for letting me shove my way in and get to know you. I'll send the best friend necklaces in the mail. It'll be amazing. The secret handshake, all of it's coming. It'll be good.
Oh, so good.